Anonymous. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Appleby, and that's about as far as my credentials go. I'm an alcoholic, and I've been sober about 9 years. I'm not an expert on anything. I don't have an official piece of paper that says this guy knows what he's talking about. I'm not endorsed by Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't have a board of old-timers that says listen to him or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so what I'd like to ask you to do while we go through the books is don't believe a single thing that I have to say. Okay, please, just don't believe it. If you look at your own experience, I'm sure we all got a lot of experience of having believed somebody about something somewhere along the line at least once and gotten burned. You ever been burned by somebody that you believe? Yeah, I've been burned a lot. Okay, see, so belief can be a dangerous thing sometimes. And so I'd like to ask you, don't believe anything you hear me say, and don't even necessarily believe the book. What we want to do is have an open mind and begin to examine, what the facts about alcoholism are, what the book has to say, and then you can check it out in your own experience, and then you'll know for a fact, what's true and what's false. And it won't be because somebody else told you it was the truth. It'll be because you know it's the truth, one way or the other. So that's why we want to study the book, is to get personal opinions out of the way of the facts, when it comes to recovery. Does that make sense to everybody? So all you really need is an open mind. Okay. I'm not going to tell you my drunk-a-log, but what you'll see as we go along is I'm going to be sharing with you a bunch of my experiences of what we're finding in the book. And so if you're interested in my alcoholism, you'll know a whole lot about it by the time we're done. Okay, now, first thing we want to ask ourselves is where would a real alcoholic start a book that's this thick? In the back, right? Go to the back, find the answer, the hell with all the stuff beforehand. So let's go to page 570.
Mine only goes to 569.
Here, use this book.
Oh, I found it.
Okay. Page 570, if you can notice, is the second page of the second appendix in the back of the book. The appendix title is the appendix on spiritual experience. We will go through the first part of this a little later, but right now we just want to look at the last three paragraphs on page 570 because they make some important points, and I think they stuck them back here for those of us who go to the backs of the books to find out who done it. Go to the second paragraph where it says most emphatically. The word emphasis means stress. So most emphatically, we wish to say that any alcoholic, now most of us in this room probably think that we may have the disease of alcoholism. We at least got a drinking problem or we never would have come to Alcoholics Anonymous. So you might ask yourself, do you think you're an alcoholic? Most emphatically, we wish to say that any alcoholic capable of going to 90 meetings in 90 days, capable of loving himself, capable of finding a little child with him, capable of dealing with his feelings. So you don't see that there, do you? See? What does it say capable of? Honestly facing his problems. Can do what? Recover. Recover is a very important word in Alcoholics Anonymous, so I put the definition up here on the board. The word recover has a very specific meaning, and it means to be restored to health. Now, if someone needed to be restored to health, what condition must they be in? They have to be sick or ill. So honestly facing our problems, and realizing that we need to recover would require an admission of what? Illness or sickness, to begin with. So there's one of the problems that a lot of us haven't honestly faced. Okay, so most emphatically, we wish to say that any alcoholic capable of honestly facing his problems. You might ask yourself, do I have the capacity to honestly face whatever I need to face in order to solve this problem that brought me to AA? Okay? Provided he does not close his mind to all what? Spiritual concepts. When I was new in Alcoholics Anonymous, I got real into all the emotional froth that was spoken in a lot of the meetings that I went to. All the learn how to love yourself and all the hugs and all that sort of thing. There's nothing spiritual about that. See, those are not spiritual concepts. See, recovery in Alcoholics Anonymous is based totally on spiritual concepts, and spiritual concepts are what we find in the book. See, we're not talking about emotions and feelings and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So, what has to happen, see, is that we need an open mind, see, provided he does not close his mind to all spiritual concepts. He or she can only be defeated. Everybody know what defeat means? Lose. Can only be defeated by an attitude. Whose attitude? Our own. See, each of us individually. Our own attitude, see, is the only thing that stands in our way. Can only be defeated by an attitude of intolerance or belligerent denial. Everybody know what belligerent means? Warlike. See, fuck you. That kind of stuff. Okay. You can only be defeated by an attitude. So ask yourself, what kind of attitude you got? See, are you open-minded, closed-minded? See, where are you with that? See, if we have an attitude and we're closed-minded, that's one of our problems. We need to honestly face that, do something about that. Okay, next paragraph says, we find that no one need have difficulty with the spirituality of the program. See, everywhere I go in AA, I hear people saying things like, I've been working on the first step for 18 months. I turn it over every morning and take it back. I don't know the difference between my will and God's will. How does it work? See, that's all people having difficulty with the spirituality of the program. See, and what the book is telling us right here, see, is it isn't the program that's difficult. The difficulty is up here in each of us. See, we're closed-minded somehow. That's why we can't figure it out. Okay? So we find that no one need have difficulty with the spirituality of the program. And notice the italics. And as we go through the book, you're going to see italics every now and then. See, and what italics mean is don't pay any attention to this. See? Skip this. Ignore this. See? This ain't important. See? This is rather meaningless, We just put these words in to fill up the page. You think that's what italics mean? No. They probably mean something else, right? Willingness. See? Whose willingness? Honesty. Whose honesty? And open-mindedness. Whose mind? They are the essentials of what? Recovery. See, those things are not essential to attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. See, many of our meetings are full of people who are unwilling, dishonest, and closed-minded. See? And that's okay. They're welcome. See, people like in that condition are welcome in AA, and we hope that they will become open-minded somewhere along the line. See, but membership, see, which means to join, to belong, or to be part of, is not recovery. See, membership doesn't produce recovery. See, to recover means to be restored to health. Okay? See, there's a very big difference. Okay? So willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness are the essentials of which? See? Being restored to health. See? Not of going to meetings. Okay, willingness, honesty, open-mindedness are the essentials of recovery, but these are indispensable. See? Notice the words, essential, indispensable, can't do without it, fundamental, basic. Okay, now go to the quote at the bottom. It says there is a principle. The word principle means a fundamental truth. There is a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man or a woman where? In everlasting ignorance. It kind of blew me away to learn that I didn't really understand what the word ignorant meant. I had, in my life, if anyone ever called me ignorant, I got very offended. Because in my mind, ignorant meant stupid. So, ignorant doesn't mean stupid. Ignorant means uninformed or unaware. But ignorance isn't bliss when it comes to alcohol and drugs, because alcohol and drugs can kill you. It doesn't say everlasting stupidity. The word stupid means incapable of learning. So we got a lot of people, and I used to be one of them, in AA, who are smart enough to learn, but who haven't, and who drink. These are ignorant people, not stupid people. So stupid people can't learn, ignorant people can, but haven't learned. Okay, so we need to do some learning. That takes what? Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. What does everlasting mean to you?
Forever.
Forever. See? There have been a whole lot of really, really smart people who died of alcoholism. See? Whose ignorance was everlasting, eternal, really smart. See, way smarter than I could ever pretend to be. They died. See? They weren't stupid, obviously, see, but they stayed ignorant and their alcoholism killed them. Okay? So we don't want our ignorance to be everlasting, all right? And that principle is contempt prior to what?
Investigation.
Everybody know what contempt is? See, now there's a million ways to say "fuck you," right? So you can say it with a smile on your face. You can say it very sweetly. You can be belligerent, and bellicose, and loud and angry. See? Or, oh yeah, you're right. See, boom, stay ignorant. See, we need an open mind. See, and we need to investigate. See, now, if we were going to investigate something, see, where would we start an investigation? At the end or at the beginning? Okay, and where are we right now? At the end. All right, see, so let's first ask ourselves if we have any contempt, see, and let's ask ourselves if we can let go of our contempt or our closed-mindedness and go all the way to the front of the book and begin an investigation. See, now at this point, see, we're not trying to admit anything. See, we're trying to investigate something to find out what the facts are. Okay, make sense? So let's go up to page XI in the front of the book, which is the preface. Before we get into this, what I want to do is point out that there is a process by which human beings solve problems, and we all seem to do this on the natch, even though we don't realize it a lot of times. So I'm going to run through this very quickly and give you an example, and then begin to show you how the book is set up this same way. Almost everybody who's here came here in a car, didn't you? Okay, so let's say that the meeting's over and we're all going out that door, and you hop in your car, you put the key in the ignition, you turn the ignition switch, and all you hear is a whir and a click. The car doesn't start. See, at that point, you are aware that you have a problem. See, the problem is the car doesn't start, but you don't know, see, what the real problem is. See, there are 40 or 50 reasons why a car won't start. See, so what do we all do automatically when the car doesn't start and we begin to investigate? Okay, so what do you check out? Where the gear shift lever is? I have it in drive or park, or is it in, whatever? Okay, if I left the lights on, is there gas? You go check the battery terminals. See, whatever we do, we start to investigate. We do this automatically. We don't say, I think I'll investigate. We just do it. Okay, and once we investigate, then we determine what the problem is. Okay, that's called admit it. See? Now, once we have investigated and admitted what the problem is, see, we now come to a mental conclusion, a belief about whether we can fix it or not and get this thing started. See, or do I have to go back in and call a tow truck or get somebody else who knows more about cars, see, to start this for me? I either believe I can solve the problem or I believe I can't solve the problem. See, based on the belief I come to, I will then do this. I'll decide what to do, who I'm going to ask, who I'm going to call, see what action I'm actually going to take to get this car started. Right. And once I've made that decision, then I have to do something about it. That's called action. And once I take the action, the car is either going to start or it's not going to start. And that's called results. Does that make sense to everybody? See? And we all do this. We do it at work. We do it with our kids. We do it, in many areas of our life. See, we just never really broke it down this way. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so if you're familiar at all with the steps, if you're not, so you can see them right up behind me here, what step has this word in it?
One.
What step has that word in it? What step has that word in it? Okay, this is steps 4 through 12. What does the 12th step say? Having had a spiritual awakening as the what? Result of what? This. Make sense? Okay, now, did the whole process of getting to the result start with the first step? No, it didn't. Where did it start? Started with an investigation to find out what the problem really is. Okay, see, that's one of the problems we have in carrying the message in Alcoholics Anonymous is that people walk in. That's the first thing people told me to do was to admit I was powerless over alcohol. See, unless I could do that, I couldn't get anywhere. I didn't understand, see, what that meant. See, I kept trying to admit something I didn't understand. See, and the reason is I never, see, investigated the book to find out what the facts were so I could come to, see, some logical conclusions about, see, what are the facts and what do I base this admission on. See, so the process actually starts, see, with an open mind to investigate. See, so if you're here and you don't know whether you're an alcoholic or not, that's fine. See, if you haven't admitted you're powerless over alcohol, that's fine. See, no problem. All you got to do, see, is have an open mind. See, and if we investigate and provide you with enough information, you'll then be able to determine, see, whether you need to admit to yourself that you're powerless over alcohol or not. Okay. See, so this takes some of the mystery, see, out of these steps. Okay. See, we have so many people sitting in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings who don't know. I don't know if I took the first step. I don't know if I took the second step. I don't know where I am. See, I'm not really. I think I took it. My sponsor says I took it, but I don't know if I did it or not. See, so we can't live in that kind of doubt and mystery. See, what happens to you when you're in doubt and mystery about things and confused? See, doesn't it get you upset and see, people tell you something and you're just like, you know, all that kind of stuff. See, so you forget about these things just for a little while. See, and let's just ask yourself if you can have an open enough mind to investigate what the book has to say. Now, many of us these days when we come into AA have been in treatment. Anybody here been in treatment of any kind? See, almost half of us. All right, now, see, some of the things you're going to find in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous are going to be different from, and in sometimes, some cases, directly contradict things that you learned in treatment about the disease of alcoholism. Okay, see, so you may believe those things. See, someone in a white coat with a stethoscope told them to you. Obviously, they know what they're talking about. See, so we're not here to debunk anything that treatment centers do. See, but Alcoholics Anonymous has a very definite, precise message about the disease of alcoholism. Okay, so if you have some of that kind of stuff going on, see, just have an open mind and investigate, see what the book of Alcoholics Anonymous has to say. And if you run into contradictions, just notice what happens. See, when you hear something that contradicts, see, something you think you already know, see, probably you get a little upset. See, that's what happens to me. So just notice, hey, I'm a little upset, and I need an open mind to find out which of these two seemingly contradictory things is the truth. Okay? So just have an open mind, hang in there. Okay, so let's go to the preface now. Okay, it says this is the third edition of the book Alcoholics Anonymous. Everybody got a third edition book? Okay. It says the first edition appeared in April 1939, and in the following 16 years, more than 300,000 copies went into circulation. You might not be familiar with the word circulation. What that means is, see, every time a book or a magazine is published or printed, they figure that, see, if they sell that book, 3, 5, 10 other people will come in contact with that book. See, the book, once sold, will circulate. See, they circulate in libraries, people lend books. Okay, so see, you put 300,000 books out, so you can figure, you can multiply that by 5, so you've got 1.5 million people who see it, even though 300,000 were printed. Okay, so once a book is printed, it goes into circulation. More people see it than the person or group that bought it. Okay, the second edition, published in 1955, reached a total of more than 1,150,000 copies. These third edition books were published in 1976, and the 10 millionth book was given away last summer at the big AA convention in Seattle. And I'm sure they've printed a few 100,000 more since then. So if you got 10 million of these books, out roaming around. See, we can figure maybe 30 million people have seen them, 50 million, something like that. See, but in Alcoholics Anonymous today, we have about 2 million members currently, so current numbers. See, and of those 2 million people who are members of Alcoholics Anonymous, more than 70% of us have less than 5 years of sobriety. So, see, what we can learn is that our chances of staying sober, even in Alcoholics Anonymous, if we want to stay sober 5 years, our chances of doing that are a little less than 1 in 3. And if you want to stay sober longer than 5 years, the odds against you go down, see, or up, depending on how you want to look at it. And so you might notice that there aren't a whole lot of old-timers in AA. So the rooms aren't full of people with 20, 30, 40 years. Okay. Lots of people, most of us go out and drink again, sooner or later. I just heard of a man last Saturday with 32 years who went and got drunk. See, it happens all the time. See, and we begin to ask ourselves why. Well, the book will explain why. See, people go get drunk. So if you have a bunch of questions like that, have an open mind. See, the book will tell you why that happens. See, very few of us in Alcoholics Anonymous are getting sober and staying sober. See, even though we got a lot of people in a lot of meetings all the time, see, very few of us, see, get sober and stay sober. Okay, so the book's going to be very clear about that. Now, once again, don't believe the numbers I give you. See, they come from this pamphlet, and this is the newest version of it. Pardon me. These things get used a lot. Okay, see, check them out for yourself. Okay? Don't believe me. Check them out for yourself. And as we go along, I'm going to give you some other statistics and things like that. Once again, don't believe me. The information is available to you, okay? And you can check it out for yourself. It's readily available stuff. Okay, second paragraph. See, because this book, now what book are we talking about? What book is this? Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Has become the, next two words, very important, basic, which means fundamental, and the word after that is text. Everybody know the difference between a textbook and a novel? See, a textbook and a Bible. See, a textbook and a biography or an autobiography. A textbook and a history. See, a textbook is something that's used to convey knowledge, see, on a subject, see, from one person to another. And all textbooks, just look at your own experience of having gone to school, they assume a couple of things. See, they are written with assumptions. The assumption is that the person reading the book is ignorant. See, that's the assumption of all textbooks. See, because if you weren't ignorant of the subject, you wouldn't be reading the book. See, so what do we need to ask ourselves? Am I ignorant, see, or could I be ignorant, see, of the disease of alcoholism and a spiritual method of recovery from it? See, and the other thing that all textbooks assume when people write them is that you're honest, open-minded, and willing to learn. See, those are fundamental assumptions of any textbook, not just the Alcoholics Anonymous textbook. Okay? And so that's what this is. It's not here for inspiration. It's not here for history. See, it's not here as a prayer book. See, it's not here to answer, people's problems and provide miracles and all that. It's a textbook on the disease of alcoholism, recovery from it. Okay? Because this book has become the basic text for our society and has helped such large numbers of alcoholic men and women to go to meetings, to learn how to love themselves, to deal with their feelings, see, to get sponsors. Does it say any of that? No? What's the word you see there? Recover. Restored to health. From what? See, what we're going to find out is a disease. There exists a sentiment against any radical changes being made in it. Therefore, the first portion of this volume describing, now please underline the next 4 words, the AA Recovery Program. There's only one, see, there's only been one for the last 55, 60 years. See, there's no such thing as my program. See, there's no such thing as your program, our program. It doesn't exist. See, we have a textbook. The textbook has one and only one recovery program in it. That's it. The AA Recovery Program. That word "the" is very important, see, to anybody who wants to recover. Okay, so the first portion of this volume describing the AA Recovery Program has been left untouched in the course of revisions made for both the second and the third editions. The section called the Doctor's Opinion, we're going to get into that a little later this morning, has been kept intact just as it was originally written in 1939 by the late Dr. William D. Silkworth, our society's great medical benefactor. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him when we get over there. Now, let's go over to the forward to the first edition. It says, "This is the forward, as it appeared in the first printing of the first edition, when? 1939. Okay, first word we see there is the word we. All right, now, there's a lot of misunderstanding about that word. It's a very important word. See, it doesn't mean current Alcoholics Anonymous membership. See, that isn't what it refers to. See, the word that we find in the book, we, us, our, all that kind of stuff, refers very specifically, see, to the 100 men and women who were members of Alcoholics Anonymous at the time the book was written. See, all of them carried the same message. All of them agreed totally on what the program of recovery was. See, if you'd have run into one of them one day and another one the next day, see, they wouldn't be telling you contradictory things about how to recover from alcoholism. See, but today, when we walk into meetings, see, a lot of times we can get very confused when we're new, see, because there might be 40 people in there and 26 of them are saying entirely different and sometimes contradictory things. See, somebody over here is telling me how to learn how to love myself. Somebody over here says I'm not in touch with myself. Somebody over there says I need to deal with my feelings. Somebody over here says I need to see a shrink. Somebody over here says all I need is a job and get in the mainstream and pay my bill. Somebody over here says 90 meetings in 90 days will solve my problem. See, somebody over here says read the book. Somebody over there says the book doesn't have all the answers. See, see, no agreement. See, nothing consistent. See, and you might look at your experience. If you've been around AA a while, that confuse you? See, what is my program going to look at like? See, so we listen to people who got some, what it looks like sobriety, and we take a little of theirs and a little of here, see, and a little over here, see, and we start to repeat things that other people say, see, and we come up with our own version of the program, generally, see, which absolves us from working the steps, see, and hope that's going to work, see. We hope that's going to keep us sober. See? And we change our act and we get all happy, joyous, and free, and we go to dances and eat barbecue and go to conventions and and we end up drunk. See? We, see, very specifically, refers to the 100 men and women, see, who were around when Alcoholics Anonymous, see, published this book. Okay, so we of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who are recovering, hope to recover, we're in recovery, see? Who are what? Who what? Have recovered. See? I mean, see, in some of our groups, the message is deteriorated so much that, see, if you walk in and say, I'm a recovered alcoholic, you're going to get an argument. People are going to start saying, oh, man, if I ever thought I was recovered, oh, geez, you're in danger. Oh, you're kidding yourself. See, that kind of stuff starts up. See? You can recover from the disease of alcoholism. Blam, flat statement we learned right at the beginning of the book. Have recovered. See, we're not in recovery, hoping to recover, trying to recover, you know. Have recovered. From a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Okay, important words. See? Now let's go to the state of mind and body. Now, a little while ago we asked about how many people were in treatment. See, most of us, before we come to Alcoholics Anonymous, try other things, see, before we get here. See, we see shrinks and we see counselors and we go to recovery houses and we go to treatment centers, sometimes a bunch of those. We read self-help books, we get in therapy groups, Anybody done any of that stuff? Yeah, see, most of us have some experience with that. So look back on your own experience of all the things that you've tried, see, and didn't they all deal either with your mind or your body or a combination of the two? See, what does a shrink deal with? My mind. What's a doctor deal with? My body. What does a treatment center deal with? My mind and my body. See, education, see, deal with feelings, see, mess with your emotions. It's all mental and physical stuff. See, get healthy, eat right, take vitamins, stay away from sugar, see, all that kind of stuff. Stay away from sex, you know, get out of relations, on and on and on. See, and so we went through all that before we came to AA. What happened as a result of all that didn't work. We stayed drunk. We got drunk again. See, so out there in the world, there are innumerable treatments, and they are growing at an alarming rate, see, for the disease of alcoholism and drug addiction. See, and what, at the end of all of them, what do they say? Go to AA. See, what do they know about their own treatment? It doesn't treat. See? See, it doesn't treat. See? And that's not saying it's bad. See, treatment centers and recovery houses perform a pretty vital function in the lives of a lot of us. See, but what do they all say, see, once it's all said and done? Go to AA. What does John Bradshaw even say? Go to AA. See? Fundamental. Boom. See, because we do not have anything that will keep you sober. See? You cannot treat the mind or the body of an alcoholic. See, now this is something that we all need to investigate. See, I'm just up here going da-da-da-da-da about it. See, you may not be real clear about it. Don't believe me. See, we're going to investigate that. Okay, so it's a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body because of that. There is no treatment. Everywhere an alcoholic goes out there in the world, the treatment fails for one reason or another, and we end up drunk. Okay, now the word hopeless, everybody knows the meaning of that. It means no hope or despair or something like that. So that's just intellectual. So I want to give you a way to understand the experience of hopeless. There is a kind of shock that a human being can go into. It's called anaphylactic shock. Anybody ever heard of it? And in this state of shock, and be very deep, you can look dead, but you're not. See, you can literally go so deeply into shock that a doctor or a paramedic can't get a pulse, and your skin turns cyanotic. You get cold and clammy in that blue kind of color. So your eyes roll back in your head, and pupils don't dilate. See, all that kind of stuff. No respiration. You can put a mirror under your nose; it won't fog. See, and people, literally, not so much today, but in the past, before medical technology picked up a bit, have been pronounced dead, see, and buried alive, see, in a state of anaphylactic shock. So let's say that all of us in this room, with the exception of Shirley, everybody know Shirley? This is Shirley. Go into a state of anaphylactic shock right now. Blam. See, you're totally out of it. You're still alive. All right, Shirley says, holy cow, a room full of people just died. And she runs in here, calls the paramedics. Paramedics, they come up here and they go, no shit, they're all dead. So the paramedics call the coroners, and the coroners bring the meat wagons over here, and they take us out wherever they bury poor indigent alcoholics that nobody loves. And they dig, what do we got, about 30 people here. They dig about 30 holes. 3 feet wide, 6 feet deep. They do it side by side. And they bring 30 pine boxes out there, those old cheap old coffins. And they put each of us in one of those, and they nail the lid down. Boom, 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 boom. Down to the bottom of the hole we all go. They bring the bulldozer, and they shove the dirt in and make nice, neat little mounds on the top. Shirley's out there. She now has a rent-a-priest, and he says, bless them, they were nice people. Shirley has a tear in her eye. I'm going to miss them, and I liked them a lot. And they all go home. Okay, five minutes later, you wake up. Okay? See, now your circumstances are going to be different than they were in this room, right? See, can you see that? See, you wake up, you won't be sitting down, you'd be lying down. See, you'd wake up, you wouldn't know where you were. See, and first thing you'd notice, it's dark in here, and you try to sit up and go wham, hit your head on something. Try to turn over, and there's no room. See, you go like this, and you push, and nothing happens. See, so you probably scream, help! Sound doesn't go anywhere. See, and you notice it's kind of stuffy in here, like there's not enough air, and it smells kind of damp and earthy. You getting the picture? Okay. See, do you think somewhere through this, let's see, what you're actually doing at that point is this, right? Isn't that what you're actually doing? Where am I? See? What are you going to have to admit? I'm fucked. See? Now, you wouldn't know how it happened. See? See, so you could sit there, see, and try to figure out how did I get in this position? See, and you could die trying to figure it out. Okay, so you could lie there and deal with your feelings. You could find a little child within. See, you could learn how to love yourself, right? See, you could discuss things with yourself. See? There's just all kinds of stuff you could do that isn't going to work. See? It's an absolutely hopeless condition. What are you going to have to do? See? And what's the only thing that's going to get you out of there? Miracle? The message of Alcoholics Anonymous is very simple. Find out if you're in the pine box. Admit that to yourself. Find a solution. Very simple. There's nothing complicated about this. You don't have to find a little child within. You don't have to deal with any feelings. You don't need self-confidence, self-esteem. See, it's got nothing to do with any number of meetings that get attended. It's got nothing to do with self-willing it, bringing the body and the mind will follow, and putting plugs in jugs. It's got nothing to do with any of that stuff. So you've got to investigate, find out if you're in a pine box, and you have to do this. See? And here's the solution. See, it's very, very simple. See? So we're either in the pine box or we're not. See, most of us aren't aware of that. See, we're walking around. We're sober today. We got jobs. We're raising our kids. We're paying our bills. See, we're driving cars. We're not in jail. I'm not under a bridge drinking. See, I obviously can't be powerless. See, I obviously can't have an unmanageable life. Well, see, it takes an open mind, see, to investigate and find out what the facts about this are. See, because if you're an alcoholic, you're sitting here in a pine box right now. Don't even know. See, I went to 400 or 500 Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and I never investigated, and I didn't realize it. See? So what we need, see, once again, don't believe me, just have an open mind. See? We got to find out what circumstances the pine box are before we can actually admit that to ourselves. Does that make sense to you? Okay, see, all that takes an open mind, some willingness to learn. See, ask yourself, are you willing to find out? See? We're not talking about anything lightweight here, are we? See? We're talking about investigating what may or may not, see, it be a matter of life and death to you. See? It's got nothing to do with Bill Wilson or me, see, or an old-timer in AA. To you, in your experience, no matter how old you are, how much you drank, what happened, any of that. See, you might still be in the pine box. Okay, so we have Alcoholics Anonymous, more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. All right, so what's the word in front of hopeless is seemingly. Seems means appears to be. See, it appeared to them to be hopeless. So they couldn't find a way to get sober and stay sober. See? And yet they did find a solution to that. So keep your finger on this page and turn over to page 60. Go right up to the top of page 60. See the 12th step in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous? We just want to read the first line of the 12th step. It says, having had a what?
Spiritual awakening.
As a result of going to a bunch of meetings and learning how to love myself? As a result of dealing with my feelings and discussing my problems? As a result of AA activities? As a result of getting a job and paying my bills? See, what does it say as a result of? What steps are they talking about? Yeah, the ones we got on the wall and the ones that you find on page 59. Spiritual awakening, see, is how we get out of the pine box. See? So, AA is now full of people who got their own program, who don't take the steps. See, what does that lead us to conclude about these two things right up here in their lives? Probably don't understand, see, the grave nature of the problem of alcoholism. See, haven't really investigated, haven't really admitted. See, it's because of that that people come up with their own programs. See, check it out for yourself. Okay, so let's go back to the front of the book now. See, here's one sentence in the preface. We've been talking about it for about 25 minutes. See, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be looked at. See, if you're going to intensely study a book, a textbook. See, and these are things, see, that you can, I hope you're beginning to see, that you need to start looking at for yourself. Okay, next sentence says to show. Show means demonstrate. Other alcoholics. How many people in here think you might be an alcoholic? See, I am. See, so to demonstrate or to show. Other alcoholics. See, remember about the italics? Skip them. Ignore it. See, don't pay any attention to it, right? Precisely means what? Exact, definite, clear. See, precisely how we did what? Have recovered. See, is the main purpose of this book. See, this book is not here to inspire you or to scare you, see, or to make you feel like an idiot or to tell you that you're wrong or in denial. It's got nothing to do with that stuff. See, the book is here, see, to show anyone who thinks they might be an alcoholic precisely how to recover from that hopeless state. Okay, that's what this book's all about. Okay, for them, that includes me, and it may include you, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. See? See? But many of us come to AA and then, you know, we go to meetings, but we're really looking for our solutions somewhere else. Counseling, therapy, self-help books, tapes of all kinds, on and on and on. See, we're out there looking for some other kind of authentication. See? Why? Because we don't understand, see, the grave nature of our problem. Okay, see, and these folks are saying, we hope that what you find in this book will be so convincing to you, see, that you're not going to be looking other places. See, but that, in order to have that happen, to be convinced, see, we need an open mind. We got to do a lot of work. See, studying this book is a lot of work. Okay, now this whole business about being convinced, see, is very vital, see, to any alcoholic who wants to recover. So I just wanted to show you some of the importance of this as we go through the book. So keep your finger on this page. Go over 10 pages to the first page of the doctor's opinion. When you get to that page, count down 4 lines. See, what's the first word you see on the 4th line? Convincing. Testimony must surely come from medical men. See, that's how we start our investigation, is to look into the medical facts of the disease of alcoholism. Now, go over to page 30. It's the first page of chapter 3, which is more about alcoholism. When you get there, go all the way down to the bottom of the book. Bottom of the page. Count up 7 lines. See? And there you'll find a sentence that says, we are what? Convinced. See, to a man. To a man means 100%. Okay? That alcoholics of our type are what? Sick. In the grip of a progressive illness. See, just like cancer, multiple sclerosis, AIDS, see, or any other life-threatening disease. We are convinced. See, now, what convinced us? Well, we started an investigation. See, up in the front of the book, by page 30, see, we're hoping everybody's going to be convinced about these things. Go over to page 60. Page 60, I think we're all familiar with ABCs. We read them a lot in meetings. Everybody's talking while this goes on. It says, A, that we are alcoholic, could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power can get us out of the pine box. No human power can relieve our alcoholism. C, that God could and would. What's the requirement? If he were sought, not if he were believed in. And what are the next 2 words you see? Being convinced. See, you got to be convinced. Okay, and what's ABC? Step 1 and 2, just different words. Okay, now if we are convinced by this point, see, we continue on into the 3rd step, which is a decision that needs to be made about our lives. So go to the very next paragraph, read the first sentence, see if you can find the word convinced there. First requirement is that we be what? Convinced. See, that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. See, I know lots and lots of people in AA ain't convinced of that. See, they are convinced that if they got the plug in the jug and go to meetings, they're going to be successful. See, but there's no evidence, see, that works. See, people stay sober for varying lengths of time, but they eventually get drunk again. Okay, go over to page 64. Middle of the page, a little short paragraph says we did exactly the same thing with our lives. We're now talking about the 4th step here. It says we took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure. See, next 2 words are what? Being convinced of self. See, not booze and not drugs. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us. We considered its common manifestations. And we start to consider that as we get into the 4th step.